Thank you very much for your remarks, Alex. It is exciting to see how the world of ceramics has expanded to touch so many different areas of science and technology. I think following that model of Fraunhofer Institutes in Germany, where you cover that broad scene of technologies, would be really good to do here as well. It's exciting to think about the future prospects of the Fraunhofer CEI here at UConn. And on that note, I'd like to spend a few minutes to tell you a little bit about the Fraunhofer CEI and what your hosts are doing so that you can learn more about us. First of all, we're part of the Fraunhofer USA organization. This is a not-for-profit organization that is a wholly owned US subsidiary of Fraunhofer Gesellschaft. And so when you work with Fraunhofer USA, you're actually working with a US company that is sort of managed in many ways by Fraunhofer in Germany. And we operate 7 research centers across the United States. And the type is a little small to see here, but these cover everything from coating and diamond technologies to software engineering, laser applications for welding, molecular biotechnology, manufacturing innovation, and sustainable energy systems, as well as a digital media sales center out in California. And so we are one of a group of science and technology centers that cover a large number of science and technology areas. Again, our affiliate partner, which has been an excellent partnership since I started in 2017 as the director here with IKTS, has been exciting and very fruitful, where we can learn a lot about ceramic technology. Me being someone with a polymeric membrane background, I've learned a lot over the last few years, but that collaboration has yielded some really nice opportunities to work with US companies on ceramic technologies, and I hope that sometime today, maybe during a break over lunch or at the reception this afternoon, you can go downstairs to see what that collaboration has brought forth. And again, my background is polymeric membranes, and I remember asking Alex when I was first asked to be the director of a Fraunhofer center that was connected to a ceramics institute. I said, you know, I don't know any ceramics. I'm a polymer membrane expert. I'm a polymer materials expert. That's all that I know. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly why we'd like you, because you add to our capabilities. And so we have this unique opportunity to connect, you know, the ceramic technologies to the polymeric technologies. And in fact, we've published one paper which combines some of the work that I've done as an academic with some of the exciting technology at Fraunhofer IKTS. You can see some of that work downstairs. I have a paper that you can look at in our lab to show how those collaborations between very disparate fields can bear fruit. So our organization is again focused on all separations technology to serve the broader industrial community with various separations challenges. With obviously a focus in membrane technology, we look to expand those capabilities as we increase our staff. And so we've done a pretty good job increasing our staff over the last 2 years. We've only really been in operation since last October under this new technical direction of separations. But since then, we now have over 8 permanent full-time staff. These include engineers, technicians, some graduate students, but also some scientists. So we're a little bit different than an academic organization or an academic lab, which would be staffed mostly with students and postdocs. Here we're staffed with permanent staff as well as a visitor from IKTS that's a rotator. So we get a rotating visitor from IKTS every 3 months to bring their unique expertise and capabilities to our center. So we're looking to, again, develop and demonstrate and potentially deploy technologies and separations across various industrial sectors. And so whether this is manufacturing, oil and gas, agriculture, food and beverage, utilities and power, and pharmaceuticals, there are incredible separation challenges that impact all of those industry and more. And we look to bring all separation technologies to bear against these challenges. So we will look at every possible option if there's a question or a concern about a separation issue, whether it's energy related or whether it's performance related. There's going to be a solution out there, and we look forward to try to solve those problems as a center. So my background, a little bit about what I've done over the last 10 years of my academic career, is really developing polymeric membrane platforms. And these platforms have been focused largely in the water area with technology areas of forward osmosis, membrane distillation, reverse osmosis, nanofiltration. And we've begun to expand into new areas as well, sometimes in collaboration with IKTS and our Fraunhofer Center here. We've developed flat sheet, hollow fiber, nanofiber, and thin film composite technology for polymers. We've developed ways to characterize membranes for their performance. not just their selectivity and permeance, but also some of the more fundamental ways we characterize membranes: elemental composition, surface morphology, non-destructive imaging. And we've now begun to work in system engineering design, not only at the system level, but also the component level, looking at element design, looking at how those elements interface with systems and how systems operate. And to this polymeric background, we add these IKTS technologies in ceramic materials. And Alex spoke about these exact technologies just a few moments ago. But really adding to our water treatment background and expertise, work in organic solvent nanofiltration, vapor permeation, gas separations, and other non-aqueous type of separations. And this is where the excitement has really grown recently as companies have typically not just water treatment issues, but also other treatment and separation problems in their process streams. Some of the equipment that we have, and you'll see some of this today as you walk downstairs, include the standard types of things you'd see in any membrane laboratory, like reverse osmosis systems or nanofiltration systems. Our background in forward osmosis gives us a number of benchtop and one element scale system to evaluate the performance of membranes. And you might actually meet one of my former PhD students here, Jan Wren. She has probably built a few of these systems, and she'll be speaking later this morning. Downstairs, we have some new systems that have recently been built, including a membrane distillation element testing system, a gas permeation, pervaporation, and aqueous nanofiltration system that are adaptable to either polymeric or ceramic membranes of various geometries. These are easily adaptable to flat sheet, hollow fiber, tubular geometries. And then, of course, I think what really sets us apart from many academic laboratories is our ability to test at scale. And I think this is where Fraunhofer CEI is really providing a value proposition to industrial companies. We're not just going to make the membrane the size of my thumbnail and say that we've made a brand new membrane that's going to revolutionize the world. We're going to make and work with membranes that are at element scale, which means that these are going to be the most relevant to the commercial sector to see how these technologies can interface with various aspects of commercial separations needs. So a ceramic element scale testing rig for UF and NF that can hold up to 3 60-inch ceramic elements that are multi-channel. A reverse osmosis element testing rig that can hold up to an 80-40 element for reverse osmosis testing. A forward osmosis testing system that can do either flat sheet, plate and frame, or spiral wound or hollow fiber modules. And you'll see some of those modules downstairs when you walk through the lab. Because again, what we're trying to do is find ways to take the basic technologies that are developed at the small scale and bring them to the larger scale. If we look at technology readiness levels of where Fraunhofer centers typically should exist, it's between 4 and 7. We shouldn't be doing the most basic of basic research. Those are for the academic groups to work on. We look to transition those technologies to maybe not the final product, but at least prototype development. And so this is just an example of how we worked with all these scales of different membranes in our lab, whether they be single-channel tubular ceramics, all the way up to element scale ceramics for one of our projects. And the same thing can be said for some of the flat sheet and hollow fiber polymeric membranes that we've worked with as well. We don't necessarily make all the modules, depending on what kind of configuration you can, but we can test and work with them. And so regarding those services that are offered by the CEI and contract research, there's many of them, and I don't expect you to read all these right now. But I would say that we offer a variety of service in just basic testing, if that's what you're interested in, or in joint development to find new technology solutions. And when you do work with us, you work with the University of Connecticut, and you also work with Fraunhofer IKTS, because we have access to a network of not only scientists and engineers here at UConn, which provide our clients access to UConn's immense resources and UConn's immense research infrastructure, but also to the Fraunhofer network. That's 700 staff back at Fraunhofer IKTS in Dresden, as well as our collaborators. And one of our projects that I'll speak about momentarily is a demonstration of how we can collaborate with multiple Fraunhofer institutes. And so some of our center successes over the last couple years since I became the executive director. We've had over $1.5 million in contract commitments since 2018. We've had 10 distinct industrial clients with two repeat clients so far. We've done a lot of completion of construction of a dedicated laboratory space downstairs. You'll find that lab downstairs. We had our first joint publication with Fraunhofer IKTS and tripled our staffing. And so we've done a lot in just a very short amount of time, as Alex mentioned, and we're very excited to see us grow further in the next 12 months. So a couple examples of some of the projects that we're working on right now. We have 2 Department of Energy funded projects. This one in particular is actually collaborative with Fraunhofer IKTS and Fraunhofer ISE in Freiburg. And we're developing new kinds of membranes for high temperature and challenging environment membrane distillation. And using a ceramic-based platform, we found ways to modify these ceramic membranes to be hydrophobic, to allow for vapor permeation without any wetting, and have done some really interesting work with Marcus White, who is here as well as our co-PI, and is leading the project from IKTS's side. And some modeling work to identify what kinds of membrane structures and what kinds of membrane geometries are effective for membrane distillation in this geometry. So far, membrane distillation hasn't really seen this kind of geometry used in its system because ceramic membranes have largely been hydrophilic and not really used for this application. But to get to high temperature membrane distillation, say 80 degrees centigrade, and to utilize the benefits of high temperature solutions like you might get from hot produced water or other oil fields or mining wastewaters, to have a membrane that is robust under those conditions, that's easily to be cleaned and dried under those conditions, would be useful. So that's what we're exploring right now. And you see at the bottom left-hand side of the screen some of the multi-channel elements that have been modified with our modification technique to make hydrophobic membrane distillation membranes. We're about to enter into the second phase of this project where we will actually assemble the pilot scale system to accommodate those elements downstairs here at Fraunhofer CEI. We also have an exciting project with a small startup company. And actually you'll notice here at the conference, at the meeting today, we have a large contingent of startup companies in attendance, and that's because we believe Fraunhofer has a lot to offer to the startup community. Startup companies may not have a lot of resources, laboratory spaces, and we can offer some of that at very low prices compared to some of the other consulting firms that may not ultimately want to take small projects that are high risk. But we like to see ourselves sit at this transition phase between basic research and commercialization, and startup communities are certainly there. Robert McGinnis, who's a long-term colleague of mine, started Oasis Water. He was the founder of Oasis Water, now the founder of MatterShift and Prometheus, developing air-to-fuels processing, which use carbon nanotube membranes. And we received an $800,000 grant from the Rapid Institute with UConn as the lead and Fraunhofer as a sub-awardee with MatterShift to develop a system to demonstrate the use of carbon nanotube membranes for selective ethanol extraction from fermentation broths. So this is the first step to air-to-fuels processing, because we know we can take CO2 and make ethanol, but it's very low yield. And so if we can find the separation process that can extract small amounts of ethanol from large amounts of water, we can reduce the carbon footprint energy use of that separation. In this particular project, though, we're looking to reduce the carbon footprint and demonstrate the reduction of carbon footprint of bioethanol by 50%, which would actually make it a low carbon footprint fuel. And we've done some publishing together and also provided MatterShift with some reports. And as a good story, when MatterShift was first starting out trying to capitalize with some funding, they came to us, we did an objective independent report of their technology showing how it worked, and that helped them to land a $10 million A round. So there's a lot to talk about what we're doing, about our partnerships, and about the value we bring to UConn, the broader community, to Connecticut, since Connecticut is one of our stakeholders as well. But there's not enough time today, so catch me anytime during the meeting today. I know we have some opportunities to speak at breaks and at lunch and at the reception this afternoon, which begins at 4:30. But also, please feel free to talk to my staff. So Sean is our Director of Business Development. Ed is our Laboratory Director. He'll be downstairs most of the day. And Terry is up here helping us with a lot of things. She does everything for us. So we really thank Terry for all of her help, especially in the organization of this meeting. So please ask them, and my card's on your seat. If you want to look up our website, I would put the website up here, but it's long. So just Google Fraunhofer CEI, it's the first result. And you can also email me. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. So thank you very much. All right, our first presenter in our technology user session, which will begin right